Hello guys. So I wanted to talk about emotions. Why emotions? Because actually they're very important. And yeah, because they are like a bridge, between your body and your mind. It's a two-way action because your body can communicate with your mind through feelings and emotions. Actually, it's the only way it communicates with your mind. And your mind, it's also communicating with your body with feelings and emotions. So it's very interesting to know, to analyze emotions, to know what's happening. And actually, so I'm not the first one to be interested in emotions. In Chinese medicine, it started a long time ago, obviously. They were using, and they're still using sometimes today also, they were using emotions as a tool for self-diagnosis, to diagnose diseases. So each element of Chinese medicine, each organ, is associated with an emotion, and so you could know which imbalance you have in your body just with emotions. So but nowadays it's disappearing a bit, because I think because it's not considered as much scientific, and yeah, for me it's a science, but yeah, it's not precise. You can't touch feelings and emotions, so people don't trust these kinds of things. But actually, they're very useful, especially if you want to self-evaluate yourself. It's a very useful tool to manage. So at first you may think to become. I mean, so yeah, first you have to understand which emotion is associated with what type of imbalance, whether it's in your mind or in your physical body. But I won't talk about it right now. I want to explain just how to be aware of emotions. Actually, many people think it's very easy to understand which emotions you have or someone has, and it's not so easy. It's a bit tricky, because the truth is that you don't have just one emotion, one feeling. You have a multitude of feelings and emotions that are overlapping. So you have to be aware of the hierarchy of the different layers in your mind. And so yeah, you have different layers, and the first layer is very obvious. It's like it's mainly about the forebrain. In the forebrain, you think of objects, of delimited objects. You like to control things. It's all more inertial, more concrete. And so basically, when people say, "Oh, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm happy," so basically they're just using their forebrain. I mean, not just their forebrain, but is that they're not aware of what's happening inside themselves. So I want you to be able to know what are the different layers that are happening in your mind, in your body. So the forebrain is like the equivalent of the tip of the iceberg. It's very easy to be aware of it. It's what we call consciousness, but not really consciousness. I mean, you can be conscious of everything in your mind. Both your subconscious and your forebrain. You can be aware of everything. Just that the forebrain is making more noise, so you're likely to be aware of what is making noise. But when you're shutting off your forebrain, like when you're dreaming, suddenly you become aware of your subconscious mind. So really, it's just a matter of your listening capabilities. It's you can be aware of everything. What we call consciousness is not true. There is no true definition. It just depends on what you're able to listen. So that's it. So how can you become aware of all these layers of emotions? you can't use words because I mean words are mainly a matter of being in your forebrain. So so yeah, feelings are not precise. So if you use words, you cannot separate feelings. You know, it's separation is very blur. Um, it's like the colors of a rainbow. You know, you don't know where it begins and where it ends. It's very tricky. So so yeah, feelings are not as precise as you can. So you cannot use words. If you use words, you remain stuck in your forebrain, and you cannot be you cannot work on your awareness. So so that's the first tip. Actually, you have to accept the fact that your feelings are very diluted, diffused, you know, not very precise. You yeah, you cannot speak your feelings really. You can be aware of it, but you have to accept the fact that you can't control your feelings. You know, so let your greedy, your thirst to control things. You have to let it apart. So that's the first tip, the first condition, so you can be aware of what's truly happening inside yourself. And so let me give you an example. For example, you can have a kind of anger that is not a true anger. I mean, it's not a deep anger, just on the surface. Your deep feeling is mainly a weakness, or it could be anxiety or fear. Maybe you don't really feel anxiety and fear, just some kind of weakness, you know. And so because you're weak, you're using anger to help you focus doing things, because anger is stimulating your stress hormones, so it helps you to focus. And so yeah, when you're weak, you use anger. You cannot do things in a relaxed manner. You have to use anger in order to do anything. But you're not really angry, you know. It's just because you're tired. You're tired, so you use anger. You're not really angry. So that's an example to show you that emotions are not necessarily necessarily what you are really inside yourself. You can be angry, not really, even if you feel angry, because it just started with a weakness and then it becomes anger, and maybe you self-identify to use your anger, so you become confused because you feel like you become angry, but it's not the root cause. You know, it's not the beginning. It's not how all started. So that's just an example. So you have to feel everything inside yourself. You have to place yourself at the center of your feelings and see which feeling is dominating the others. So that's the second tool. You have to understand, to make a hierarchy of your emotions and feelings. You have to you have to see your feelings and see what feeling is on top of which means that some feelings are very stable and other feelings are fluctuating. So you recognize that the fluctuating feelings, sometimes they go away, they come, they go away, and these fluctuating feelings are less important. You know, they're not telling much about you. They are important. They have their usefulness. I mean, it's useful to be aware of all of it, but you have to put a hierarchy. So you have the less fluctuating feelings are related to your deep imbalance. So just by seeing which feelings is more stable than the other, you can understand this. It's like in the sea, you have this main stream is the surface, very fast stream, hot with lots of fishes, and you have deeper streams, very cold, stable, not moving much. And the same thing with feelings. You can see all different layers, but you recognize the deeper layers by the fact that they are not fluctuating much. So that's the second tool. First, you have to not control feelings. Then you have to, don't try to control things. Just accept the fact that your feelings are not precise. Then you have to see which feeling is more stable through time. And then you have another tool I like it much. It's about playing a character. It's like being an actor, you know. You pretend to be someone, but you don't decide which character you're playing. You let your body express itself. You let the body decide which character you want to play. So maybe if you have a deep sadness, for example, so your body naturally will push you towards a sad character. So you will pretend to be very desperate. Oh my God, why? You know, and you like it much. I mean, you realize that you're very good at playing characters that are like your deeper emotions. So that's another tool to, when it's easy, you know, to play that character. It means that you're a bit like that character. You know? So that's another tool to understand which emotions are hidden in your mind. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, I think. So